But when you listen to understand, that's when you're really listening. And then you answer them, like a few minutes down the line rather than straight away.
So you're a people leader. How effective are you, and how do you evaluate that effectiveness? I'm Dr. Joey Fawcett. Welcome back to the Work Positive Podcast, coaching you to grow people and profits. So my guest on this episode measures the effectiveness of people leaders like us by how they develop current and future leaders into highly effective leaders themselves. So let's discover how people leaders best develop more people leaders who all lead in a work positive culture on this episode of the Work Positive Podcast. Well, when you think of Liverpool, England, you think of the Fab Four, or at least out of my generation, I do. Today, after this episode of the Work Positive Podcast, you are going to think of Tom Lawrence, because Tom's originally from Liverpool, been living in London for a while, and comes to us today to talk about how we can be highly effective leaders who create other highly effective leaders. Tom, welcome to the Work Positive Podcast, my friend.
Thank you, Dr. Joey. Great to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here, man. So excited. So you've got a ton of resources to offer us. By the way, Work Positive Community, you can look in the show notes there. You'll find his website is highlyeffectiveleader.com. You'll find a link to his Amazon page, as he's written numerous books, including the series, The Highly Effective Leader. His LinkedIn profile is there, and then also his YouTube channel, Leadership and Growth, is there. So all kinds of resources. Will unpack more of what's in some of those a little bit later. Tom, obviously you're a superhero when it comes to creating highly effective teams. How did you get started? What's your origin story with highly effective teams?
Well, if I go back to when I was about 16 years old, I started an apprenticeship in engineering. And at that time, I thought to myself, because I've got an older brother who did the same thing, and he's worked at the same company since he was 16, and he's like 47 now. So it was like, so he's had a job for life. So at the time I was thinking, I'll do the same. I'll have a job for life, because my dad did the same thing as well. And then it got to about, from the company I was with, I was made redundant after about 4 years. So I just completed my apprenticeship and got my qualifications. Mm-hmm. And then in 2005, I joined the rail industry in Liverpool. I was based in Liverpool. And I started there as an engineer, and I worked my way up, got my first project manager's job there. And then in 2011, I joined a company in the train operating company in Scotland, ScotRail. So and that was my first leadership role, where I'd have my own team to lead. And I must admit, like, I was so excited to do the job and leave Liverpool and go to Scotland and all this stuff. But doing the job without a lot of experience and without a lot of leadership development was very, very, very difficult. And especially with my leader, who was, my line manager, he was bringing me in to change things. And you don't bring in somebody who's got no experience to change things for you. So because I wasn't changing things that he wanted, you can imagine how sort of upset he was with me and how he behaved towards me. I mean, I still think he's a great guy. I still like him and everything, but it's just his leadership style was not leadership, if you know what I mean. It was very micromanaging, very tough, very old school, very dictator type style. So it was about 2 or 3 years of doing that role where I come out of that production manager's job and I moved into a performance manager's job. And that was still in Scotland, but that was from Edinburgh, where I worked the first time, and then I moved to Glasgow for a couple of years, and then that's about 2015 when I decided I wanted to move to London, and I got a job with a global engineering company, but still within the rail industry. And I thought to myself, because this is my own team, it's only a small team, it's like 4 people, but it's my own team. I need to start developing myself in leadership, because no one's doing it for me. No one's giving me any leadership development. I need to start doing it myself. So it was like 2015 when I started reading leadership books. And the first ones that I read were by John Maxwell, like one of the biggest leadership gurus in the world.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great place to start, Tom.
Yeah, definitely. And so I read about 4 of his books and then reread them, and then I got into Simon Sinek, but like Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then I just kept reading more and more and more. And then I remember thinking to myself in about 2017, when I just moved from this role, performance manager role, into a deputy head of engineering role, otherwise known as engineering technical manager. And this is where I had like a number of teams under me. So the people who reported into me were now managers and team leaders basically. So my leadership development needs to be even better. And it was like, well, how do I do this? But I just keep reading, keep developing myself, but also keep making mistakes as well and learn from them. Don't quit on yourself. Don't like come across like you don't come across like you know everything, because you don't. These people who are below you are probably better engineers than you. So leverage that. Help them become even better. So I tried my best to sort of do that, but the role that I was in was so demanding and so like the line manager I had was very old school. The rail industry in the UK, it's a great industry, and the engineering industry, it's a great industry, but there's a lot of old school leadership styles still in it, and it's going to take it's going to take a long time for us to change that.
I'm sure.
But it got to like say 2 years of doing that job when I was I decided I need to make a change here. But also, this is in 2019. I said, why don't I share my story with people? Because people will be in the same position as me, and they could maybe learn off me and sort of use like my experiences to help themselves. Sort of take the good things that I did, practice them, see if they work for you. Take the bad things that I did and learn from them. But and I was thinking to myself, like, how can I do that? And I just thought, well, I've read all these books. Why don't I write a book about it?
There you go.
Or write it down and maybe start a blog or something, and then maybe after that I can make a book. So that's what I did. So in 2020, I started highlyeffectiveleader.com, which as a blog, started publishing blogs like every other day. And then after a while, I showed them to a few people, and they were like, "Tom, you've got to put that into a book. That's really good. That's really helpful. Like, that's really helped me. You've got to put all this stuff into a book." And then I was like, "Oh, so people actually agree with me then?" They think that's a good idea. So
they were all suffering under the same old school leadership, right? And trying to transition.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just in the rail industry either. It's in other industries. And I mean, and it's in different countries as well.
Yes.
There is that style. And nothing's perfect, and it never will be.
Right.
But at this time in 2019, that's when I started writing my first book. And my first book was called Manager to Leader. And I thought, well, maybe I can sort of, if I keep writing and just keep writing and writing and writing these blog posts, I can make a second book and maybe a third.
Sure.
So that's what I thought. I sort of vowed to myself every single day, I'm going to write at least a paragraph, at least. So if I do write just a paragraph, it's still progress. But I want to write more. I want to write like say 3 paragraphs or more. But that's so since 2019. And this was in January 2019. Every single day I've written at least a paragraph, and that's why I'm publishing. Like, I'm going to be publishing my 6th book at the end of this month, and I've got more to come in years to come. And I see it as like my life's work. It's like my life, sort of what I think about all day, every day, and I love it. And the writing side of it is something that I love. The topic that I'm writing about, which is leadership, personal growth, influence, and it's all from my own experiences, I love. And I love it when someone says to me, "I bought your book and it's really helped me." If just one person tells me that, it'll make me feel great for days, even weeks.
Absolutely.
And I just thought to myself, I'm helping people, and I'm also helping myself, because I'm making myself feel great by doing this.
Yeah.
So why not do it every single day? And that's
And
what
the
I've done.
amazing thing is when we take those lessons that we've learned, Tom, and we share them with others, it really multiplies those lessons exponentially, cements the learning greater for us. So you said something that is just so true. Most of us find ourselves in a position somewhere along the way of leadership to where we don't have a clue what we're doing. And unfortunately for you, is that first position, right? Or one of those early positions. And I had Scott Greenberg on the Work Positive podcast maybe it was a year or two ago. And I remember him saying, and he works with a lot of franchise companies around the U.S., and I remember him saying that the average manager goes 10 years before he receives any kind of leadership training or management training whatsoever. Yeah. 10 years. So we really hurt ourselves when we fail to empower and really equip leaders.
Yeah.
Your definition of an effective leader, though, a highly effective leader, if you will, is a leader who develops other leaders.
Yeah.
So where did that learning come from along your journey?
Well, it was basically from all the research and the reading that I did. It was like the thread between all the different books is when you read about a certain leader doing a certain task, he or she, what they're basically doing is developing the people to follow them because they want to, not because they have to. And it's like they follow them because they want to be leaders as well. And one of the most important leadership principles or traits is leading by example. Talking your talk, but most importantly, walking your walk. And that's the best thing you can do to inspire someone to be a leader. Is basically behave like a leader, and that's basically where I got that idea from. Is that it seems to be the thread between all the different leadership gurus and coaches and experts that I've read about or learned about or watched on video or anything like that. It's always that thread. Like leadership, it's about others, but it starts with you. You've got to develop yourself to be the most valuable leader you can be so that you can add the most value to others. And by adding the most value to others, you're developing them into leaders as well, or helping them to develop themselves into leaders. And that's basically where I got that idea from. It's just, it's like the common thread between every single leadership expert that I've ever come across.
Yeah, I love it. And yet it's so neglected and so overlooked, both the self-development, because most of us depend on the structure or the context in which we find ourselves to develop us. So you found yourself with none of that in the structure or context within the rail industry, but you were proactive enough and went out and sought it yourself and then began to create that context and that structure within the organization. So I love your proactivity. So let's say, Tom, that I'm your kind of leader. I'm a highly effective leader. I'm creating other leaders and developing other leaders. And I'm looking to attract top talent. And I'm working hard to create this leadership development culture on my side. How do I communicate that to top talent so that they're attracted and want to come to work for us? Especially top talent that comes from one of those old school management systems in which the context and the structure did nothing for leadership development.
Well, that's the thing is when you're talking to top talent or you about the team that you lead and the organization that you work in, what I've found when people have talked to me, not saying that I'm top talent, but when people have spoken to me,
we can call you top talent.
Yeah, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but when people have spoken to me about like a certain job or a certain role within a team, all they seem to have talked about was, how much money you're going to get paid, what jobs you're going to do, what tasks you're going to do, what skills you need, what qualifications you need, what hours you're going to do, all the sort of fundamental things. Whereas when you're talking to top talent and you're looking to, first of all, attract them to the team and then retain them, you want to talk about first of all, you want to understand them. You want to learn about them. So you find out about, like, look, show an interest in them. Ask them about, like, what their background, what's their, current situation, like their families and the things like that. What are they interested in? Talk about the team that you lead, what the culture's like. If it's a great culture, talk about it. Like, why are the team friendly with each other? Why do they collaborate with each other? Why do they like coming to work? What's it like when you walk into the workplace? How do you feel when you walk into work? And how we want to make you feel when you walk into the workplace? Don't just talk about the job. Talk about the whole environment. Like, when they wake up in the morning, will you feel like you want to go to work, or are you feeling like, oh, I've got to go to work this morning?
Yeah,
you obviously want them to feel like they want to get there as quick as possible, don't you? And that's basically what culture is all about, because culture goes beyond the workplace. Like, for me, culture is how you feel when you're in the workplace. It's like, when I'm here, do I want to just do the fundamentals that will get me paid? The bare minimum, so I can get me paycheck at the end of the week or the end of the month, or do I want to go that extra mile for the team? Do I want to show my leader that I'm willing to go that extra mile? Maybe come up with new ideas. Do I feel empowered to come up with new ideas? Is my leader empowering me? So it's as being in the leadership position, you've got to share all this with the people you want to attract. It's not just the job; it's the whole workplace. It's the whole team. It's how the team are, and how you're going to how you as the leader are going to keep making it better. You're going to involve them in the vision, like what the vision for the team is, what the vision, what's the big picture. How can you involve them if they join your team? Like, why you would listen to them, like what our one-to-ones will be like. It's not just going to be me asking you, where are you with this task? Where are you with that task? It's, how are you at the moment? How's things at home? How's things within yourself? Try and put that across. I know that sounds a lot, but try and put it across as much as you can to inspire the person to want to, first of all, apply. And then if they come for the job interview, when you talk, don't just ask them the questions that are on the job interview sheet. Ask them questions from your own head, like show an interest in them, so that if you do offer them the job, they'll take it straight away. Like it's sort of, they're the ones who are applying for the job, but you're the ones wanting them because they're the top talent. So it's a two-way street. So you've got to sort of put it across like that, and also, even if you put it in the job advertisements and on the job page or in the newspaper or wherever it is, don't just talk about the fundamentals of the job and what the task is. Talk about the organization and why it's a good company to work for, and the culture and the team that you're going to be a part of and stuff like that. Put that in the job in the job advert, because again, it's another way of attracting that top talent, because there's more than one way to do it, isn't there? So try and put that across as much as you can.
Yeah. So actually, you're beginning to develop leaders in the interview process.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, and also explain to them how, if they were to become successful and get the job, what kind of development they'd be going through and stuff like that. And we've got, me particularly as the leader, it's my responsibility to help to develop you, not do the development for you, but help you to develop yourself. And here's how I'm going to do that, and explain how you're going to do that as well. And there's more than one way to do it, but try and put it across as much as possible, but not too much. Don't try and overwhelm the person, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because you can go overboard with it, but it's trying to just go beyond the fundamentals of the job, and explain like how it could be a good place to work,
right?
A good team to be a part of.
So let's say you do that amazing job of attracting this top talent. They're on your team. How do you keep them working on your team? How do you retain that top talent, Tom?
Well, as I say, there's a saying, isn't there? There's like, you develop your people so they're good enough to lead you. Develop your people so they're good enough to leave you, but treat them well enough so they don't want to leave. So it's about how you treat the person. So there's another saying: treat the person the way you would like to be treated. Speak to the person the way or speak to the team the way you would like to be spoken to. Empower them. Give away your power at the right times. Ask powerful and open questions of them. Don't tell them what to do all the time. Don't solve the problems for them all the time. Inspire them to solve their own problems by asking those open and powerful questions in a similar way that you're asking me. Like that sort of coaching style rather than management style or old school leadership dictator style micromanagement. Don't micromanage anybody.
Sure.
Don't like supervise them, if you know what I mean. Sort of be a leader. Show them the way, and then let them find the way themselves. If it's like that two-way street, and by doing that, you're building a relationship with the person, which will build trust with that person, and when you build trust, that's how you increase your influence, your positive influence, and then once you increase your influence with them, your top talent can then take your influence, leverage it with other people, either within the team or within the department in other teams. So you can sort of share how the culture within your team, share that within other teams, and grow it, help them grow their culture as well. If depending on the size of the organization you work in, of course.
Sure, but it cross pollinates. There's a ripple effect, if you will, of that positive culture. Let me ask you a question. What if the key to growing your work culture hides in plain sight? Take the free Work Positive Culture Assessment to discover it. Get insights in less than 4 minutes that transform your culture so you grow people and profits. You just answer 13 simple questions and discover your culture stage, strengths, and personalized next steps. Get your free aha culture moment at workpositive.today. Go to workpositive.today right now. Tom Lawrence is my guest on this episode of the Work Positive Podcast. As I mentioned a moment ago, there's lots of great URLs to links for you to click to go to discover more about Tom. We'll talk about some more of those in a minute, but just be sure to find his author page on Amazon because obviously he has a lot to offer and great leadership and growth strategies for us. So what are some of the challenges? We're talking about highly effective leaders create other leaders who create other leaders and ripple throughout the entire organization to create what I like to call a work positive culture. So what are some of the challenges you see out there today, Tom Lawrence, for companies and organizations doing this very thing?
Well, when you as a leader, one of the first things you need to have is a vision. And when you share that vision with the team, not every single person in the team is going to buy into it. So you sort of, how do you sort of overcome that, or how can you change that? And one thing I haven't seen a lot of is when a leader or a person in a leadership position has shared the vision, they've not involved the team with it. They've not sort of asked them what they think, what their ideas. I can't say see that vision there that we wrote on the whiteboard. How are we going to achieve that, or what can we do to strive towards that? You don't see a lot. I've not seen a lot of that. But when you do ask those questions, you get so many different ideas, and it's like, okay, so let's write all these down. So you write all these ideas down, like how we're going to achieve that vision. And then when you get to the end of all the ideas, like, okay, how can we formulate this into a plan? So you bring the team in and you say, right, let's work on this together and develop a plan together. This isn't just my vision. This is all of our vision now. So and the way the vision is at the moment, it's not going to stay like that. It can develop. So you develop your vision every single day. And that's one of the main challenges that I faced, that I saw. But what I've also seen in other leaders is they don't seem to be, or they don't find it easy to ask for new ideas or from the team and involve them to develop that vision. And then when you can develop that vision and put it into a plan, you say, right, okay, there's 10 people in our team. Person A, you're going to do this. You're going to take over this. Person B, this, blah blah blah, and everybody's got their own section, and they develop that. And then we intertwine, and then it just intertwines and just develops and develops and develops every single day. And you're working on it together every single day. And that's how you overcome that challenge, by involving the team in basically the team vision, or even the department vision, or the organizational vision, whatever it is. And I mean, other challenges you'll see as well is like once we're working on these things every day, not everything's going to go to plan. You know, there's going to be things are going to go wrong, aren't they? And things are going to happen because of outside influences or things outside of our control.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to do is, as the person in the leadership position, is listen. You know, you listen to the person where things are going wrong with, listen to why they're going wrong, and what can you do as the leader to help solve those problems. You know, don't go in there and solve the problems for them or tell them what to do and how to do it. Listen to them, listen to understand, don't listen to reply. You know, there's like sort of two ways of listening. Like when you listen to reply, you're sort of hearing them, but when you listen to understand, that's when you're really listening. And then you answer them, you know, like a few minutes down the line rather than straight away, or tell them what to do next. Like, and again, it's like that coaching style, like sort of asking open questions, thought-provoking questions, digging deep, right, and getting those, you know, helping you the person you're speaking to within your team to get everything that they can to solve these problems within themselves, or you know, with other people within the team as well. Maybe you can collaborate with someone else, and you know, overcome the issues that you're finding, and that's basically one of the best ways to do it is keep working together.
Yeah, to overcome that challenge of, instead of isolating myself as a leader, which is a common malady, right? I isolate myself. I expand to the team, get the team to collaborate, and we create that vision. I love it. Tom Lawrence is my guest on this episode of the Work Positive podcast. So, Tom, we've got several resources in the show notes. When we go to highlyeffectiveleader.com, what are we going to find?
Well, you'll find one of the main things on there is my blog. There's around 250 blog posts on there, and there's I post on there every Sunday. So if anyone's interested, they can go onto my blog every Sunday and they'll see a new blog post. You'll see the link to my author page for my books. You'll see links to each book as well.
Okay.
There's free content on there. There's free ebooks. There's 12 ebooks and 12 online courses.
Sweet.
And you can see my coaching page on there as well. So if anyone's interested in leadership and personal growth coaching with me, they can go on the page, click on the coaching tab, and you'll see a link to my like a free discovery call, like say 20-minute discovery call with me. But the main thing on there is my blog, and there's links to me LinkedIn and YouTube channel on there as well.
Outstanding. Yeah. And we've got all those links in the show notes for you as well, Work Positive Community. So if you're interested in those individually, or you can just go to the highlyeffectiveleader.com site and find all of that there. Tom Lawrence, Work Positive Community, always wants to know from my guest. And so I've got to ask you, my friend, what's one thing that you would encourage the Work Positive community to do starting today to create the kind of positive work culture that we're talking about?
Well, first of all, you need to understand what your culture is like at the moment. Is it toxic? Is it negative? Is it half positive? And the way to do that is speaking to your team, asking them how don't ask them like, what do you think the culture's like? Ask them how they feel to be part of the team, because that's what the culture is. It's how you feel to be part of the group, the team, the community, the department, the organization, whatever it is. Ask them how they feel, and then once you spoke to every single person, think to yourself, well, the culture is either bad or it's good, and the way to improve it is understand within yourself how you want to see the culture. Like what is your vision for the culture? Like what does a happy culture look like to you? What does a leadership culture look like to you? And then that's the vision where you want to write it down on a whiteboard and say to the team, get the team all in the room, every single one of them, say, right, that's the vision that I see. That's what I see our culture being. It's not that at the moment, but that's what I see it being. What do you think? And ask the team to give their ideas and give their thoughts. And as I say, like we were talking about vision before, if there'll be one or two people in there who won't agree, but they might have a new idea that could develop the vision, not change it, not quit on it, just develop it. And that's basically you need to do. You first of all, you need to know what the good culture looks like.
Right.
Understand from your people how they feel, and then ask them what their ideas are.
So assess the culture and move forward. I love it. That's a great do one thing for the Work Positive community today. Tom Lawrence, I'm better for this conversation, and I know the Work Positive community is as well. Thank you so much for sharing your time and wisdom with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful you joined our conversation about creating positive work cultures that grow people and profits. Connect with me directly on LinkedIn today. Just search for Dr. Joey Fawcett, or you can click the link in your show notes. When you send your connection request, mention you're a Work Positive podcast listener, because I want to give you a free digital copy of my Work Positive Team Edition book. It's a $19.95 value, but I want to share it with you free because it contains practical strategies that I personally use with clients to transform toxic work environments into thriving cultures. We explore in that book how to create a positive work culture, and we do so again in every episode of this podcast. Our LinkedIn connection allows you and me to directly talk about your specific challenges, so feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn. I personally read and respond to all those messages because I genuinely care about your work positive success. So go to LinkedIn and let's connect. Remember to mention you're a podcast listener to receive your free Work Positive Team Edition book. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode of the Work Positive Podcast.